What's going on, family and friends? I repeat, what's going on, family and friends? Hope all is well. Today, we're going to jump into a quick daily insight. Shout out to the fam. Before I get started, I want to shout out my wonderful wife, my partner, best friend, Malika, and just all that she does in front and behind the scene. And I want to shout out all the couples out there and partners working hard to build a relationship and enjoy life, if you will. And so nothing major about that. So shout out to the missus. And so not take too much of our time. My name is Donovan Hilton. I am your brand strategist and leadership coach. People and brands position themselves as an authority and build lasting influence. And my eyes are going all over the place. I do have a couple of platforms going, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at the minimum. And so again, Donovan Hilton, brand strategist and leadership coach. I help people and brands position themselves as an authority and build lasting influence. And today's daily insight is, today's daily insight is brought to you by LDH Advising, ldhadvising.com. Today's daily insight is brought to you by ldhadvising.com, which is short for LDH Advising, the top advisory firm in urban areas. LDH Advising is an advisory firm that empowers businesses and individuals to enhance their influence, credibility, and impact through strategic communication, relationship management, and brand development. LDH Advising helps leaders craft authentic narratives, build meaningful connections, and position themselves for lasting success. And so, for those that I'm going to try to share my screen. If you're on Instagram, as best I can. If you're on Facebook, I'm sharing my screen. And of course, on LinkedIn and YouTube, you should be able to see the screen here. And so, I know we're ready to jump into the conversation, how to work like a CEO, even if you're an introvert. But before I do that, I want to shout out the 2025 National Kickboxing Championships presented by Arnold Sports Festival. The reason I'm shouting this out is because I've had an opportunity to work with the United States of America Kickboxing Administration to host 3 national kickboxing championships in Nashville, Tennessee. And I want to say in this particular area, with the organizations that I work with, we generated at least $1 million in revenue for that geographical territory. And that was through 3 years. And so this year, the championships will be held in Columbus, Ohio, February 27th through March 2nd. And they'll be focusing on ring and tatami sports. I also want to shout out the Inland Empire Hounds, a semi-professional American Basketball Association franchise. They're starting their playoffs this week, Saturday, March 1st at 7:30 p.m. in San Bernardino, California. And so if you're going to be in that area, thank you for stopping by. That fun, fast-paced activity, very affordable and family-friendly. And so these are some of the activities that I am involved in and I am around. And that's why it's important for us to discuss how to network like a CEO. I'll say that again. That's why it's important for us to discuss how to network like a CEO, even if you're an introvert. And so today's training or workshop, if you will, or just daily insight is going to be more of a freestyle. I do have a couple things up that we want to jump into, but other than that, I'm going to provide advice and suggestions just based off of what comes to my mind at this time. I really didn't write too much down. Excuse me. I didn't write too much down. I just really want this opportunity to flow. And so we're going to go ahead and jump into it. I'm going to see if I can change my camera angle for those that are on live. on Instagram. Let's see. If y'all can see the screen, we'll do it like this as best I can. Let me see what this looks like on Facebook. I think we're good. This is kind of what the behind the scenes looks like, y'all. So y'all excuse this camera here because I'm going live on Instagram. And so again, for those that want to connect with me, www.l as in Lord, D as in Donovan, H as in Hilton, advising.com. Check me out. I provide a free advising assessment where you can fill out a questionnaire to let me know where you are, where you want to be, and I'll send you a assessment of my feedback to you for free. And for a small fee, I'll create a pre-recorded video explaining my feedback. And you can also schedule a time to have a advising session with me, private virtual advising session for an hour to pretty much reach those goals that you're looking to get to. So check out the site. And so we're going to go and jump into this conversation. Finally, thank you all for your patience. How to network like a CEO. How to network like a CEO, even if you're an introvert. So I feel at this point it's important for us to really just find out what is a CEO. And I think a lot of this conversation is going to be for those that are new to entrepreneurship, new to personal growth, at the minimum. And we're going to realize and find out that a lot of this journey is mental and dealing with your mindset. A lot of this journey is mental and dealing with your mindset. You're going to really figure that part out first. And then once you really accept that part, then you're going to be able to learn the technicalities and the skills that you need to reach where you got to reach. So with this, just focus on the knowledge, getting the information, and putting time into practice. And I can almost guarantee you that the money will come, that the return on these investments will come. And so first and foremost, we're talking about mindset first. Let's see what a CEO is and what it does. And this is according to No Right or Wrong. Sorry, y'all. I'm just going to do it like this. This is according to, let me do it like this. I want to be fair. This is according to Oxford Languages. CEO, a chief executive officer, the highest ranking person in a company or other institution, ultimately responsible for making managerial decisions. I'll read that to you one more time so you understand what we're talking about here. When we're talking about how to network like a CEO, in order for that to happen, you got to first be able to get out there and have the mindset to get out there, and then have the mindset to network like a CEO, even if you don't have the mindset or the skill sets to network like a CEO. This is all personal growth. This is all mindset. This is why it's important for us to get this clear understanding, so we can move accordingly. A chief executive officer, the highest ranking person in a company or other institution, ultimately responsible for making managerial decisions. So some of the things that come to my mind is chief. And when I think of chief, respectfully, I think of like Native Americans or the tribes, if you will, and I think of a leader. I think of those in leadership positions. I think of those that through inspiration or force move others to do things. Inspiration or force move others to do things, in so many words. And sometimes as a leader, you have to lead by example. And as a leader, sometimes you are pioneering, meaning you are doing something that's the first of its kind, and others may not see where you're coming from or may not know the outcome, and you are walking on faith. And that is the purpose of a leader. Well, not the purpose, but one of the attributes or one of the responsibilities of a leader. And so keep that in mind. So when we're talking about how to network like a CEO, off the back, we're talking about how to network like a leader. What is a leader? Well, a leader can be seen, and sometimes a leader is not the highest ranking. So I don't even want to say that. A leadership, at the end of the day, comes from action, Leadership comes from courage. Leadership comes from being able to make those decisions during the unique times. And I'm going to give a bad example, maybe, but I think of David and Goliath. And because David was not someone of the highest rank, and that was a time, according to the story, where a leader was recognized, may not have been born, but recognized because of the decisions that and the skills, obviously, that David had. And so you don't necessarily have to be the highest ranked, but you do have to be someone that is willing to lead. So when it comes to how to network like a CEO, mentally we have to be okay with learning how to lead. And that's very broad because you can lead in so many ways in this conversation, but not lead nonetheless. Highest ranking person in a company or other institution. Now, keep in mind when you're a CEO and you're the highest ranking person in a company or other institution, 9 times out of 10 is because you have a vision or you have the experience to get something done. And so when we're talking about leadership, and when we're talking about being a CEO, we're talking about leadership. We're talking about a vision or being a visionary. And we're talking about experience, which is a part of time. So you have time, supporting you. So therefore, someone that may not have the time, but they have the knowledge, may still respect and cooperate with your suggestion because some things have not been proven or is not evidence based. Even if your strategy at the time was just straight faith, you still have that time now where you went through that, where you will be at least considered, you'd be given the opportunity to be heard as far as what you're looking to do. Uh, and then the last thing we want to talk about when it comes to the CEO is ultimately being responsible for making the managerial decisions. So you have to be a decision maker. And it's funny because when we are reaching out to prospects, one of the first things we want to do when we're reaching out to these prospects is find out, identify, and connect with the decision maker. Why? Because the decision maker is the ones that's going to help move the needle forward in so many different ways. And so recognize that you're going to have to be someone seen as being able to move the needle forward. That's why you're a CEO. And it forces you to realize that in order to be someone to be seen as moving the needle forward, you're going to have to be more than an introvert, right? So, how do you become a leader, visionary, experienced decision maker while not being a introvert? We're going to now let's talk about introvert. What is that? What is introvert? Here we go. Definition of introvert. We're going to Oxford Languages here on Google. I'm not even going to pretend like I know how to pronounce this word. Reticent. Okay, here we go. So introvert, according to the noun perspective, is a shy, reticent person. So I know what shy means. Reticent is not revealing one's thoughts or feelings readily. Write that one down. I know I'm about to pull that one back up sooner or later. Not revealing one's thoughts or feelings readily. Now, I have a good bad joke that comes to my mind when I read this. Not revealing one's thoughts or feelings readily. That could be considered wisdom because the quietest one in the room is usually considered the wisest in the room. Why? Because the people haven't heard that individual speak yet. It's a bad joke. But less is more. And so when you're not able to reveal things or share things, it does create a sense of authority. It does create a sense of mystery, indirectly leadership, especially if you're able to produce results. And it keeps people guessing, if you will. But in this case, reticent it's not necessarily a good thing to not be revealing of your thoughts because we're networking. Here's right under that sentence, a shy, reticent person. Here is an example. I'm an introvert and don't like public speaking. We're going to have to get past that. We're going to have to get past that. There's no ifs, ands, or ways or buts about it. If you are looking to do it yourself, you're going to have to get past not liking to public speak. And the reason you may not like it is because you may not be comfortable because you don't feel comfortable or experienced or have the technical skills in yourself to think that you'll do well. Because ultimately, if you did well about it, you may not like it, but you will tolerate it and you'll accept the fact that you would not say, I'm an introvert and I don't like public speaking. Because you could be an introvert, but you don't have to like public speaking, but you do have to do it in your position as a CEO. Why? Because the CEO traditionally is the individual that is the ambassador or the representative of the brand. They are the face, if you will, both internally within the brand and organization, as well as externally. So if someone calls for your organization to do a partnership or work together and they want you to be a guest speaker, you're guest speaking on behalf of your brand that you're representing, if that makes sense. So we always want to keep those things in mind. And so we just cannot be in a position. This is all mental so far. We got to first be aware and accept, okay, well, how do I do it? Well, the first thing of how to do it is to know not how to do it, if that makes sense. Is know what not to do. To know how to do it is to know what not to do. I said it like that, if that makes sense. And one thing not to do is to not accept public speaking. To not accept, because public speaking could be you behind the podium. Public speaking could also be you networking, because you are in public and you're speaking, and it's natural as root, if you will. And so we have to be okay with knowing that you are a leader, knowing that you have to be a visionary, knowing that you have to put in time to get that experience, and you have to be okay with being seen as a decision maker, as the CEO. If you're still conflicted on making decisions, oh, I'm at the restaurant, what meal do I want to eat? And you take it 20 minutes, we got to get better. We got to get better. Nothing wrong with that. But in business, time waits for no man, lifetime waits for no man. So we have to start being decisive, is what I'm saying. And the more you practice on that, the more you can critically think and analyze quickly, the quicker your decisive processing will be, and the more results you will see, if that makes sense. So for kicks and giggles, we know what an introvert is now. Let's look up what an extrovert is. If I'm spelling it correctly. Extrovert, Oxford Languages, an outgoing, overtly expressive person. An outgoing, overtly expressive person. I want to look at the word expressive. Expressive definition, which is under Oxford Languages, adjective, effectively conveying thought or feeling. So you have one, which was reticent. You have one that was reticent, that not revealed your thoughts and feelings. That's an introvert. But then you also looking now at the roots of extrovert, which we came to overtly expressive, and then we broke the word expressive down. We come to find out that expressive definition from an adjective perspective is effectively conveying thought or feeling. And not only conveying your thought or feeling, but effectively conveying your thought or feeling. Effectively conveying your thought and feeling. So we can already know just off of a mindset perspective already that in order for us to network like a CEO, if you feel like you're not networking like a CEO now, and this is why you're here, you now know you have to do the opposite of what you have been doing. No ifs, ands, buts, or coconuts is what they say. You now know you have to do the opposite of what you've been doing. So if you've not been thinking of a leader or developing your leadership abilities, you need to do so. And I can actually help you recognize your leadership DNA or your leadership style, as well as recognize other leadership styles in general, so you can recognize other people's leadership styles so that your leadership style can adapt to their leadership style and it becomes a productive, powerful team dynamic. And the best leaders are the ones that can adapt to any other leader's style. So your leadership style should not just be one thing. Your leadership style should be fluent enough to where you can be authoritative, you can be diplomatic, and anything else to adjust to another leader who may not know their leadership style and may not know the other leadership styles, and you know you have to get a job done. That is all through my Know Your Leadership DNA webinar. I believe it's 1 hour where you get to find out your leadership style. You also find out other leadership styles so you can practice them and use those to your advantage. And then you can, again, to ensure team dynamic, you're going to use the leadership styles that you need to adapt to with the other person to get the job done. And that's how you maintain retention, you keep people around. And that's on my website, LDH Advising under training. And we have a bunch of other courses going on there as well. And so to not lose my train of thought, take a sip of this tea. Excuse me. We now know you have to do the opposite of becoming a leader, starting to have a vision, starting to walk on that vision, starting to know that I have to put in time to gain experience, and you will be seen. You have to be seen, or you are seen as a decision maker. Why? Because you are networking like a CEO. You can't network like a CEO and not be a decision maker or be perceived as a decision maker. So if you're uncomfortable with that, you got to start working on that. If you need help with your decision maker skills, you want me to provide some free content on that, put in the comments decision making or send me a message decision making, and I'll break down do a free video of what that looks like, and I'll provide some more training for additional fee for those that need help. All right, so some good stuff here. Now we're gonna change the conversation and go from the mindset and the mental into the physical, some of the technicals as I wrap this video up. I just want to give you a perspective of what you may have already known. You have to possibly start doing the opposite, but you now know what that opposite looks like. And so now we have an idea of a CEO, we have an idea of an introvert, we have an idea of an extrovert. Let's talk about the how-to. Now, the thing is, we're talking about networking here. Networking, why is that so powerful when it comes to relationship management and something that's high valued? Why is networking so powerful? Well, I can say just from my experience that most people don't know how to do it, don't feel comfortable doing it. So someone in my position with my skill sets get paid a lot of money to represent brands and network for them, and or to have brands come to me and say, hey, Donovan, who's in your network that I can connect with to either build my customer base or to increase my community presence or increase buy-in, community buy-in, something of that nature. That's why that's so important. And so we want to network, but we want to network with purpose, which is what a CEO does. And the CEO's job, respectfully, is to ensure that the company is maintaining profits, is being a sustainable organization, excuse my phone, y'all, being a sustainable organization and doing great work in the community and giving back. That's what a CEO looks like. So When I think of networking, I'm thinking of what comes to my mind is information technology. When I think of networking, what comes to my mind is information technology. Why? Because networking to me sounds like something dealing with technology and dealing with computers or computer science, if you will. And let's look up, I have it up here actually, networking. Here it is right here actually, networking. I'm going to put in networking IT. Okay, let's see if this makes sense when it comes to networking and IT, that conversation. Oh, it's also called computer networking. So forgive me, IT or computer networking. I'm going to go off this one first. This is according to AI. I'm not sure the source. In information technology, or IT, networking is the practice of connecting devices so they can share information and resources. I'm gonna write that down. I need to write this down or screenshot or get back to this, but it's the practice, first of all. Let's look at the word practice. It's the practice. That's the time part we were talking about. And the leader and that CEO, that's that experience in the time. The actual application is a computer word as well. The actual application or use of an idea, belief, or method as opposed to theories about such application or use. So basically, the actual use of an idea, of a mindset, or a strategy, actual use, as opposed to theories, which is thoughts and thinking about something. I'm assuming, if I'm not speaking out of ignorance. So we're talking about applying something, and so networking for IT is the application of connecting devices so they can share information and resources. And so when we're looking at networking from a humanistic standpoint, I don't think it's any different. We are connecting with other human beings so we can share information and resources. That part. Human beings are connecting with other human beings to share information and resources. Those resources can exchange data. Basically, you're exchanging data, information, if you will. And that's why I think it's so powerful because a lot of it, if you break it down, is right there. And so networking, let's go over networking. Let's go. So we're going to go back to the regular definition of networking from a human capital perspective. So we know that networking from an IT perspective is connecting devices so they can share information and resources. Going back to the human side, the exchange of, this is to Merriam-Webster. You know what? We're going to go to networking. We're going to keep it at Oxford's languages. The action or process of interacting with others to exchange information and develop professional or social contacts. So again, we're exchanging that information, and the resources, to some degree at the minimum, is that you're sharing as well, could be professional and social contacts. And I know organizations and businesses that rely on a customer relationship management system that is that system itself with all those contacts and that operate the business and manage the business. That system with all those contacts are more valuable to some investors than the business operation itself, because people still want contacts. People still want access to other people because it's people that buy things. It's people that volunteer. It's people that do all the interactions. If it's not the animals, it's not the plants. You know what I mean? So as of now, businesses want to connect with people. People want to connect with people. So what you're doing is very powerful in the sense that you are really focusing on exchange. You're exchanging information. And when you are networking like a CEO, you want to be able to, if you're exchanging information, you want to be able to introduce yourself and indirectly share your story. How do you do that though? There's a way to do that. I'm going to write that down the table. I'll probably give you one tip of how to open up in a networking event. How to, forgot how to do what I just said, but opening tip, opening. I can remember that. I don't want to get too much off topic, but we're just free flowing here. And so when we're networking, we're focusing on exchanging information and developing professional or social contacts, and those things can be leveraged. And so, one thing you want to be seen, let's go ahead and jump into it now, wrap up. One of the things that you want to be seen as a CEO, is someone that is of authority. And I did a video before, and that video was under personal and business brand authority, the secrets to positioning yourself as an authority in any industry. I did a video on that. That's free. Check that out, because ultimately you are a authority again as a CEO, and the what makes you a high value authority, because as a CEO you're authority. As a elected official for an agency, you're an authority. You're in that position of leadership. But what sets you apart from authority and being a valuable authority is what information you can provide. And so the more that you can provide, the more that you can share, the more people will come to you. And you will be seen as an influence, especially in your industry. And that's why I want to show you the picture of, let me see if I can find networking. This is it right here. And this is no different than in computer science. These are that, but these are, and so this could be you, and you right here, or you right here, whatever. And let me see if you can, sorry. This could be you. This is what the network looks like. So you're networking to build a network. Basically a net. This is basically a net. Do you see the nets? The gold or the gray lines and dots? That's the net. And you are working that net, and you can then be one individual but connected to so many people. That's why the saying is, it's not about what you know, but it's about who you know. And I've been able to make a career out of who you know, and another career out of providing training and information and sharing information, of how to find out or do and be and know what to know and who to know and know all those things, if that makes sense. Very important. So excuse the light there. So that's what networking looks like. And this is the power that you can have when you do networking right. And so we're going to go back to our convo here. Any questions, put them in the comments, the link, send me a DM. Hope this makes sense. And so that, you can't be, you have to do the opposite. You have to be out there and sharing your thoughts, sharing your feelings. You're actually finding out that you're sharing information and data and building social contacts. You're building this big web. How do you do it? We have the mindset down now. So how do we do it? Okay. How do I network like a CEO? We got it down. We got this. We got the mindset down. Next step you have to do, respectfully, is be where the CEOs are. Exist, which is another word for be, B-E, B as in boy, E as in A. Be is another word for exist. Exist is another word for be. Be where the other CEOs are, for a number of different reasons. It's time for you to start sharing information and start building those relationships. It doesn't make sense to wait. Go ahead and get started by finding out on Eventbrite or go to a local chamber. Start by going to free events where CEOs are. Chambers have various events all the time, to include conferences and conventions once a year and things like that. Find out your area, know your territory, your area, and start going to these free activities. You start going to these free activities, you start building your network. Come to find out, the people that you're meeting at these events and networks are going to invite you to stuff that they're invited to. A lot of times it's for free, they'll pay for it, or you might have to make an investment. But that's how you're building your network. So one of the first things you want to do is be where the CEOs are. And when you're going to be dealing with other CEOs, you're dealing with people that know their leader, that have a vision, that have the experience, and they know they're a decision maker. It could feel overwhelming. It could seem scary, but I'm standing in agreement with you right now to know that this is a a done deal for you. It's so easy. All you have to do is go out and walk and do it. Nothing's going to be easy when you first start. Most things aren't easy unless you're a natural talent. And so, for example, I'm going to use an example of lifting weights. I don't like to lift weights. It's grueling, it's painful, it's time consuming, but I like the feeling after and I like the results that it brings. And come to find out, I like the mindset it gives me. And as I go on, I become more disciplined. And my mind, my body, and my mind tells me, okay, it's time to go ahead and do that. If I start to find myself procrastinating, my mind's going to start to feel a certain way and tell me, like, you need to just go ahead and do this because you know what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be great. You're supposed to reach the heights and the thoughts, I mean, in the places that's going through your mind. That's where you're supposed to be. There's no other way for you to get there other than for you to take those steps. No one's going to do it for you unless you pay someone to do it for you, or you're fortunate to have people to try to volunteer and provide that time. And if you want me to teach you how to support those that are providing time for you for free or you're paying to keep them around, put in there retention. Put in the comments retention for your team, retention for your team, and I'll speak on that. But we don't have time to be nervous and afraid for what is destined for you, which is greatness. We don't have it. This is the youngest you're going to be for the rest of your life in this lifetime. So what are we waiting on? Get out there and start building and getting that time and that experience, because the time combined with your knowledge is going to produce the money. That time combined with your knowledge constantly growing is going to produce that money. It's going to produce the revenue you need for your organization so you can do it full time, the revenue that you need for your organization to be able to give back and provide community service opportunities, as well as jobs and opportunities to make money. There's no excuse for you not to go out there and be great. You don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. And I'm telling you right now, it's not easy. It's not fun. It makes me think about the free 60-minute webinar that I have. I have a free 60-minute webinar titled How to Get Comfortable Getting Outside Your Comfort Zone. How to get comfortable getting outside your comfort zone. It's a free 60-minute webinar. I can send that to you if you put in the comments or send me a DM, direct message of getting comfortable. Put in the comments or direct message, getting comfortable. Now see the 60-minute webinar on how to get comfortable getting outside your comfort zone, because that's going to be something that you need in order to take what you do to the next level. That's that time. And so as we get ready to wrap up, one thing as far as technical, you want to be where the CEOs are. Be where the CEOs are. That's Eventbrite. That's chamber events. That's city and community calendars. I can't tell you how many people I've met at job fairs and different community events. True story, real quick. I went to a city, just new to the city, minding my own business. I happened to go to this community event to hang out with my family and just, hey, we're not going to do no business. I'm hanging out with family. We go to this event. I pull a raffle ticket. My son says, Dad, keep your raffle ticket, because I was getting ready to throw it away. So I kept it. I won an electric bike. So I get my bike, which, I owe to my son. So he's riding it. But I get the bike. We're walking back to the car. A lady comes up to us and says, oh, you want an electric bike? Congratulations. We have a genuine conversation about 5 to 7 minutes. Come to find out, she's the mayor of the city. And come to find out, she's running for re-election. And so because I built a great rapport with her before I knew who she was, and it was just genuine, I introduced her to my family. We had a great conversation. And to find out she was a mayor, and it was election season, I ended up going out and knocking on doors and for her campaign and passing out flyers and building an even stronger relationship with her. So much so that it opened so many other doors and meeting so many other people, as well as when I was having other opportunities and projects going on because of my time with the mayor and going through that process, there were people that I ran into or my name was spoken and it was spoken highly of and got me into even bigger doors. So the network is real. The web is real. It just requires you to go out there, get comfortable getting outside your comfort zone, putting in the time along with your knowledge, and you can monetize. And it's not about making money, but if your heart's in the right place and you want to really do something positive and you know that you can bring that product or service to the table and really provide what it needs to provide, that's your right to go out there and do it. So I'm motivated and inspired by you going out there and just saying, hey, I'm gonna get out here and do it. I'll give you a bad example before I get out of here. I was doing a championship event, a national event, and the opening ceremonies are about to get started in about 90 minutes. And there was an essential personnel for this event that was not there. And that was a part of the team that I was working with. And so here we are with the administration of the event and all the sponsors, national thing. We're missing something that's key, essential, and was talked about and whatnot. And that personnel is not there. And I was one of the decision makers for this group that was supposed to be handling that. And a lot of the other decision makers of the group weren't there. So I had to be the one to endure all this. Where is the person and what's going on? This is my first national event. You know, I'm getting ready to go on lives around the world. It's being and so I'm thinking like, and I'm calling, nobody's picking up. And so I'm in my mind like, wow, my first event for this magnitude, and it's already going like this. It was beyond my control, but at the same time, it was a big deal to get started. And everything's on time. This was a national thing, and so all I could do, good bad joke, is at one point drift away from the mayhem slowly, and excuse me, y'all. All I could do was drift away from the mayhem slowly and just had the phone next to my ear like I'm talking to somebody. But I wasn't talking to anybody. I was just praying, like, Lord, please find a way to make this work out because I'm stressed. It's too much. And I can't, and I'm just talking to nobody, just praying and trying to look like I'm busy because everybody else is getting, the solution. Needless to say, everything worked out. And, I had to endure that. And I'll never forget it because it was an experience through time that made me stronger. If I look back and some things aren't as big as a deal as they need to be. And I learned so much. So my point is, when you get out there, it's going to be unpredictable. Nothing may not be perfect, but you got to get out there and you got to do it. That's my point. If you want to hear more crazy lump stories of things that didn't go right and didn't work out, put in there problems when networking. Problems with networking, and I'll share some stories. So you got to get out there and keep doing it. With that being said, so you want to first thing get back to it. So you want to be where the CEOs are. Eventbrite, chamber, city, and community events. They have what they call them, like business networking, BNI or BMI, Business Networking Institute. I think it's BNI. The Business Networking Institute. You have the Small Business Development Center. You have SCORE. You have SCORE is SCORE. It's a nonprofit organization, national chain that has retired executives that provide counseling and feedback to help you grow your business for free at the minimum. As far as like network events that people have going on. So you want to be where they are. Let's see. So how to network like a CEO. And I'll leave you with this. You go to the networking event. You work the room. No ifs and buts about it. You work the room. And I worked the room so times that when I was going out and even going out to hang out, I've really toned down a little bit. I used to wear suits all the time, like everywhere, even to the nightclubs. I'll never forget, like between 25 and 30 years old, 5 years straight, I'll go to the clubs in my suit. And as soon as I get in there, I'll walk around the club like twice. And I would, hey, how you doing? Shake hands, give somebody the fist bump. Hey, good to see you. How you doing? Just walk through, make eye contact, smile. Do that about twice. Within about 30 minutes to an hour, and for the rest of the night, people are coming up to me asking where the restroom is. And at first, I did it just because that was who I was. I was an extrovert, if you will. I'm really an introvert, but I'm an extrovert when I'm out, especially when I'm out, So, and I say extrovert, I'm just being polite. Like, how you doing? Good to see you. Hey, smiling and just being respectful. That's really what that is. But ultimately, I used to just do this in GP, and I started to realize after a while, people come in and ask me where the restroom is. Can I get tickets to the VIP? Can you show me around? And I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, oh, you're the owner, aren't you? Aren't you you own the place? You're saying hi to everybody. Everybody knows. And that's a perception that other people, start to see. And so, like I said, I really have some skill in networking. It's fun. A lot of this could be applied to dating. And all of this comes back to just being sure of yourself, believing in yourself, and getting to know yourself. Once you're able to do those things and get the knowledge of the technicalities of a CEO and what that looks like, it's endless possibilities. There's no challenges. And I don't want to take too much of your time. I keep saying that. Last thing I'll say is a good opening line when networking. A good opening line when networking. And it's a good thing or a bad thing, whatever. But I like to do sometimes. There's times where there's times I went to networking events and I had an attitude because I had a disagreement with someone or something, and the show cannot go on. So I had to try to find that balance at the networking event and get back in the groove of things. But the bottom line was one thing I always like to say when I'm networking is, so what brings you here today? What brings you here today? That's a great opener for me. The reason why is because it provides so many answers and opportunities for a start of a conversation. They might not even be there for the networking event. They were there because such and such invited them and dragged them down or whatever. And then you can jump into that conversation. And the point is, when you ask that question and they tell you what brought them there today, it's a valuable conversation. Because again, you can find out someone's not even there for the networking. They just had a bad day and their friend said, hey, just come on out and just take your mind off of things. And you find that out and you help do that, come to find out the person you're talking to is a Fortune 500 CEO, and you just help connect with someone emotionally and professionally, and now you can do some business. There's so many possibilities, and the law of possibilities, all things are possible. And that's the reason why I just want you to realize that you just got to get out there and know what to say. One thing to say is, so what brought you here today? What brought you here today? And there's so many other ones. But that right there you can say that while you're out, go to and just try it. Go to a concert, or something of that nature and go to someone like, what brought you here today? They're gonna be like, look at the party, whatever, but you might get other things. And the fact that you're able to ask that question and not feel embarrassed or ashamed, people feel that, and that's the purpose of a CEO. A CEO is someone that is comfortable with being in a leadership position and is growing in comfortability of being vulnerable. All things come out. And while I'm here, I want to shout out my man, Ricky Rodriguez. The founder of Take Your Shot Media Crew, owner of Take Your Shot Media Crew, general manager of the Inland Empire Hounds. I've learned so much from this gentleman and his work ethic. It's inspired me. And he's a great networker as well. I don't know if he knows what he's doing, but he's a natural and he knows how to work a room and will come out with a bunch of business cards and a lot of great new friendships. And I want to shout him out. And I'll leave y'all with that. Let me know what you think. If you felt this message was valuable to you, thank you for following, liking, and sharing this information. If there's anything you want me to elaborate on, go ahead and put in the comments or DM or direct message me, and I will get into it. Make sure you check out my free webinar, Getting Comfortable, Getting Outside Your Comfort Zone. And I would say if you're looking to get some more free content from me, I'll see if I can put in the link. Check out my video, The Secrets to Positioning Yourself as an Authority in Any Industry. And also, if you're serious, send me put in the comments or send me a direct message of relationship building. And what I'll do is I'll send you my free 5-step checklist on how to build professional relationships from scratch. 5-step checklist on how to build professional relationships from scratch, as well as I'll send you a free 60-minute webinar. I think it's like 35 minutes, but I think it's up to 60-minute webinar on how to build relationships from scratch for your professional needs. How to build relationships from scratch for your professional needs. Send me relationship building in the comments, or direct message me, and I'll send you a free 35-minute webinar, 60-minute webinar on how to build relationships from scratch for your professional needs, as well as a 5-step checklist on how to build relationships from scratch for your professional needs. Thank you for visiting www.ldhadvising.com to learn more about my work and to check out some more of my free content. And if you felt this message was worth any value to you, thank you for donating by clicking the link, or visiting, or scanning the QR code and donating monetarily out you felt this message was worth to you. Thank you for sharing, liking, commenting to keep the algorithms up so I can continue to make more content like this. Thank you so much. I'm wishing you a great rest of the day, and see you at the top. Peace.